All right, we're back for episode 110 of Digital Divination. Ron will begin with the ritualistic disclaimer.
That's ritualistic. So anyway, I'm an employee of Wizards of the Coast, and the opinions I express here are mine and not theirs. And in going back over the last couple of digital divinations we've done, this is very ritualistic. Jason, now you have to follow it up with an amen or so shall it be, or
Oh
he is risen
Yes.
indeed, or
man, I was
something
ready.
like that.
I was ready to do that. I was ready
Yeah,
to do that.
he was just waiting for that pause, and then we
Yeah.
go on. Well, gentlemen, this is the Monday night of Memorial Day weekend. Are you ready for the start of summer?
Kind of. I mean, as ready as I get. This is, it's been the spring has been so short that sort of casually taking care of some spring things have suddenly now they're all done and it's summertime. So I guess it's success, springtime success. How about
Success.
Yeah,
yourself?
I have 2 weeks left of school, so
Ooh.
I have this week and next week, and then I'm done. And I am going to teach a class online asynchronously over the June to July, which basically means I just grade once a week
Mhm.
because it's already set up and just kind of runs. Yeah, it's this whole time since Christmas has just gone by so fast for me, just blown by.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Jason?
Stuff has happened. I'm hoping that I'm ready for summer. Being in the new place, we don't know how hot or not it's going to get in here when it gets to be hot. We have like a portable AC unit that we can find a place for if we need to. But fingers crossed. We have some shade. It's been very nice. It hasn't gotten too hot here, even on the days it's gotten up to like 89, 90. The house has been nice and cool.
Yeah,
So
no, well, I think you being in the lower part of the house will be cooler than where Ron is above the garage.
I'm right underneath the skylight where the sun just
Yeah.
beats down on the
Yeah.
roof. Yeah,
ooh,
actually, just rearranged my office a little bit. It is almost imperceptible from the vantage point you guys have. But I move some stuff around knowing that I'm going to get my portable air conditioner, bring it up from the garage into here. So
mhm.
soon
Nice.
it will be nice and, as chilly as I'd like. The last few months I've been able to have the window open, and that's enough, but it won't be enough.
Will that be your first time using that one, or did you? I don't remember when you got it.
No, I used it last. No, I'll tell you that it it is new, and it is new because I got the brand new air conditioner last summer. This is a hand-me-down air conditioner. It's kind of nice. I got one several years ago from Scott Kime, and then I got
Mhm.
one from you, John.
Yeah.
Last year, it was brand new. I'd set it up. I'd been running it for about a week, and then I get a call from my mom in Oregon. This is about a year ago,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh, Ronnie, it's just been so hot here, and my air conditioner kind of isn't cutting it." And I look at my
Mm.
old air conditioner, the
Yeah.
one that Scott had given me that was just about giving up the
Yeah.
ghost. And then the new one that you gave me, and I kind of sighed, and I'll be like, okay, mom, I'm going to bring you an air conditioner. And I brought her the newer, nicer one. So I struggled
Wow.
through with Scott's for just another couple of months. But then
Yeah.
at the end of the season, when everything kind of went on sale, I bought a
Right.
new one. And so that's the one that I'm going to bring up. So until somebody else in
Yeah.
my family calls and needs an air conditioner, and I
Yeah.
guess they get the
That's
new
funny.
one. And
Mhm.
I had 2 of those, and I gave the other one to Mark because
mm,
he's up in the top end of his house as well, and um, hopefully that. So I ended up when I had to get a new furnace last year, and as part of that, I got a heat pump which gives my house air conditioning. So I had these 2
Mm.
from the previous year that I purchased finally because it was so hot and I couldn't stand it, and I don't need them. So anyway, well, good,
okay.
good. Well, I don't have a segue from that. Um, so I'll just, yeah, I'm
Other
thinking,
other
speaking
than
of
it's
cold
the
air,
Well, wait.
no.
Hold on. No. I got
Okay.
one. I got it. We want to talk about what's hot?
Yes. Okay. There you go.
oh, that's
Let's talk about
good.
what's hot. It's PaizoCon. It's PaizoCon weekend. I've been practicing my segues
Good. Good.
lately.
You've been quite good at it
Uh,
with the scum and villainy stuff. So that's been good.
oh,
Yeah,
thank
You're
you,
yeah.
gonna
thank
be. I
you.
mean, just for general.
So
Are you entering like this Segway competition, Jason? That you're gonna.
I'm hoping to get a new job and recording, I guess, on public radio, maybe. I
There you
don't know.
go. There you go.
Um, I say I've been practicing. I'd had a good one at the PaizoCon panel that I was kind of volunteered to moderate. I had a little opening chat, and I was like, speaking of, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, speaking of this, let's get to the questions.
That's good. Which one?
And because it was a Q&A, it was a
Which
Q&A.
one was the panel you were
It was
moderating?
the GM tips and
Okay.
tricks panel. So it's just sort of like six of us are sort of like talking about GM stuff. Yeah, I love doing that. I think I do that panel like nearly every year. And it does sort of like boil down to the same thing a lot of the times, but it's still good to get in some specific questions that people ask that are like when how do you fix your how do you fix a problem
Mhm.
like Maria exactly, stuff like that.
Okay. So what does it boil
Yeah,
down
but
to,
but
though?
but
I
it
want to know what
is
it boils down to now. If it's the same thing every year.
it boils down to communicating,
Okay.
talking
Yep.
to your group. Talk to your group.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, talk to your group. If things are boring, talk to your group. If there's a player who's having some issues, talk to them. It just comes down to just talking like human beings to one another. I didn't bring up because I know there's been some there's this like Twitter thread or other social media thread going around about this like screenshot from Reddit of like 44 rules that this GM put down, and it's like 44 of the red flags that you've ever red flagged, and it's a lot of discourse about that, and it's none of that. So basically, none of these people don't seem like they like playing with each other. That's for sure,
Oh
and
man.
that sounds awful. But the GM tips was just basically like, yeah, talk to your players. We had Tom Nelson who created a product called the Deck of Player Safety.
Mhm.
And it is a neat little sort of accessory that you can use, and I think it's like available for free online through Demiplane or something like that. So hey, you're welcome, Tom, for the free plug
There you
on
go.
this wide-reaching podcast.
Yes. Well,
The things like that,
speak.
the GM tips and tricks tends to be very well attended. It's actually really smart. It's a really smart panel because people who are kind of insecure about their GMing want to go because they want to learn. And even people who are kind of secure about it are like, well, I can probably learn a couple of things, right? There's that kind of the kind of advice service that hits across a wide range of people in the hobbies. How can improving your golf swing, both novices and people who've been golfing for a while are
Yeah,
like, well, I want to improve my golf swing. Tips and tricks for GMing is exactly the same way. It's even people who've been doing it for a while who are in a purely like objective sense very good at it are still like, I want more tips and tricks, right? So
it's always room to
yeah.
improve.
Yeah. No.
It's this is like jamming and even playing a little bit is a bit of a muscle
I mean,
that you
except
just
you
need to
two
kind
are
of like
great.
practice.
That's You have no improvement needed.
I
So
could always
exceeds
I
exceeds
disagree on that.
expectations.
Yeah.
5 out of 5.
that exceeding expectations is good, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
you can't improve.
Yes. Speaking of GMing, I GM'd the Starfinder Society Special 699, which kicks off the new Starfinder organized play season. And I realized I hadn't GM'd a special for almost a year since like last year when I
Ooh,
did one.
Got
wow.
your 5
Yeah.
novas and went home. That was
No, no, no. Well, that was like years ago. 3 years ago I got them, I typically I try to GM the special every year, but I don't do a lot of extra specials besides that, because I like to do them when they first come out, either play them or run them, and usually I run them. We need things, and it was fun. This is the first special that I've done, any special, and I've run about 20 of them, right? That we actually finished early. So I
wow.
think the developers finally realized that maybe we need to cut them down a little bit. So
What
it was
level
Yeah, those are
characters were
always
you running?
massive.
well, this is for this special. They only ran two kind of tiers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I ran 3 to 4.
Oh,
They had run up to 8 for the last several, and like the first special ran 1 to 12. And they realized at that time there weren't a lot of people that had 12. So myself and another person ran it at Gen Con. And there were 2 tables, right?
mm,
Whereas this one we had 44 tables, 44. 42 tables, half of which were online and half of which were in person at the various PaizoCon kind of
Satellite locations.
satellite ones. Yeah.
They had a
So
term for them. I don't
I
remember.
think one of
yeah, there's a name. Well, it's
affiliates, was it
like
affiliates or
PaizoCon
something?
here or something like that. They kind of
Oh, okay.
made it. So
And
KublaCon was the one last year, and then this year,
Yeah.
like Mox was added, and a couple others.
Hmm.
So I think whoever kind of put in and say, "Hey, yeah, we'd like to do it."
and
So that was kind of neat.
it was just first to fourth level.
Yeah, just first to fourth level.
That surprises me because
Yeah,
I think this this upcoming correct me if I'm wrong. I think the upcoming Starfinder Society season is the last one for first edition
yeah.
Starfinder. So I would think this would sort of kick off with, bring your highest level, toughest characters out to play for a whole year because this is the last play you get in them, and then you've got to make brand new characters for Starfinder season or Starfinder organized play for Starfinder Society second
Oh,
edition.
that's short-sighted. This is like, that Starfinder Second Edition is coming out, so try Starfinder, this big, massive special. It's only tiers 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, so it's easy to get involved.
Well, then you
Is
spend
what
time
I think it
learning a
was.
system that's like about to go away. Well, I guess it's not going away for you can get a lot of play in a year, to be perfectly honest. That's
You could.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So
A year and a half, even I would say, because it's not going to come out till August. Not a half, but a year and a
oh,
year
quarter.
and
yeah,
a
I guess
couple
that's true.
months.
That's true.
But you could keep playing Starfinder First Edition too if you wanted.
I
Sure,
Where
mean,
so
yeah,
you
you
sure
can
could.
keep playing. What or don't they still have third edition Pathfinder Society Year One or Year Zero adventures from way back in the day? You still technically play
well,
those,
I
right?
mean,
so I also did headquarters for PaizoCon, so the online headquarters. There
Mhm.
was one Pathfinder First Edition game in our whole thing of like 40 plus games in
What
that
level were
first slot.
they?
Oh, I didn't pay attention. It just
Okay. I would think higher level because
it might have
once
been,
you sort
yeah.
of earn once you've earned your way up, you're reluctant to let those levels go. Frankly, if somebody told me that I could play a Living Greyhawk adventure and I could bring out my old 17th level third
Yeah,
edition
yeah,
D&D
yeah.
players, I know where they're at. It's in the little room right behind me. I could go
Yeah.
find my character, I could find my wife's character. Let's go.
But they did have some interesting announcements for Starfinder Second Edition. I thought we could chat about a little bit if you guys want it.
sure,
And can I tell
yeah.
you the most exciting thing that I heard? I have
What'd you
known
hear?
all the way through Starfinder First Edition, and when I got to write for Pact Worlds, which talked about all the different planets in the Pact Worlds for Starfinder First Edition, and I got to write about Octurne, right, which is the
Yeah.
sort of the elder gods, evil cult planet, um, where Nyarlathotep walks in order to keep the cult spinning. There's some sort of nascent evil deity inside the planet that one day was going to hatch and bring ruin to everything, and it hatches. That's the thing I
Yeah.
learned this weekend is that Octurne has now birthed the newborn, which is going to be an entity in Starfinder Second Edition.
It has. I mean, that's one of those things. It hasn't happened yet, technically.
But it's gonna.
Well, and that's going to be in a playtest adventure. That's the
Hmm.
the birthday
The
celebration, right?
cosmic
A cosmic
Cosmic
birthday.
birthday.
birthday. That and
Yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah,
that's the one that we intend to start with. Is that right, Jason? Because the second one
yeah.
doesn't
That's
come
true. I
out.
mean, that's the first level one.
Yeah, that one comes out right after
Oh,
Gen Con.
wait, did I just learn a spoiler then? Was I not supposed to know that?
No.
I
I
shall
don't. I
erase
mean,
it from my
they
mind.
tell.
Yeah.
No, they're telling everybody what
Yeah.
happens in it, so it's not like it's an actual
Yeah.
spoiler.
And then in October, there's the higher level one is coming out. So level 10.
Yeah, that's one. We learned a little bit more about
Yeah.
that one actually. It's called Empires
Right.
Devoured. It appears to kick off a war between the Atlantic Star Empire and the Veskarium.
Hmm.
And because of the name and because of some of the stuff that Thirsty said in one of the panels, I'm pretty sure that there's also the cult of the Devourer involved in
Something about
it.
devouring, yes.
Something about the Devourer. One of the things that I think is kind of cool looking, that they showed off a little bit of art
Yeah.
from that module, and there is a new type of Aslanti
He's
baddies
blue.
known as purple. Well, it looked
Blue
more
was
purple to
I
me.
thought it was blue.
Um, but known as the Sahedron Guard,
Yes.
which is
Okay.
pretty cool. And I'm excited to see what they're all about and
Well,
what's going on in New Zealand, the Star Empire, to have this
they were
fracture.
described as very punchable Nazi types. So
Yes,
their
The
words.
Aslanti
they have to be. Yeah, they'd have to be pretty fascist to be more fascist than the
Yeah,
actual
that's what I was
fascists
yeah, they
thinking.
were
that
already like,
already
they're
exist.
extra punchable because the Aslanti Star Empire are always punchable, very punchable Nazis.
Yes. Oh. And they also mentioned that they're going to have, like they described, a total of 4 playtest scenarios. I don't know if that was the right word.
I think
Yeah,
scenario was
kind of
something like
like
that.
venture length. So at level 5, level 10, and level 15. I don't know if the first, maybe level
Wait,
1.
so a cosmic? You mean 4 of the sort of size and span of a cosmic birthday?
No,
No, they're no. They're talking
Shorter than
about
that.
I think so.
PF
Yeah,
like SFS scenario
yeah.
length. Yeah,
That's why I
I
said
think
like
there might
kind of
even
like
be
scenarios,
un.
shorter.
I think they might even be under the Starfinder Society scenario
Yeah.
banner. Technically, they would just be like playtest
Right.
scenarios that'll probably be getting tables and stuff like that in various
And
places.
they said they'd have pre-gens for like the 1st and 5th level, but for levels 10
Yeah,
and 15, they wanted you to make your own characters and do that, provide feedback. And they weren't like stress testing like they did for Pathfinder 2nd edition. It
yeah,
was more because they feel comfortable with the game engine mechanics. It's more just put it out there and get feedback. And they
Right.
talked a little,
yeah.
yeah.
Do the ancestries make sense? Do the class abilities make
Right.
sense?
All the
5th, 10th, and
yeah.
15th are smart
Test the classes.
levels to be testing because those are where the big power jumps are.
Yeah, no, I think that's good because that like we noticed when we're playing, there's a big difference in how some of the classes play and stuff, and it's good to get. I'm sure they do a lot of internal play testing, but it's good to get some more folks kind of pushing that boundary.
Yeah. The what was there's one they're talking about some of the new spells that they're
Yeah.
adding in, and one of them is the carcinization spell, which is pretty hilarious. Um, I thought I was watching. Um, I wasn't sure if this one spell was called New Game or New Game Plus. There was something like that. There was a real high level spell that I didn't explain what it did, but it another sort of Starfinder-y kind of name, stuff like that. I mean, there's some other arts that they're showing
Hmm.
off. It all looks pretty good. They had Kyle on, Kyle Hunter, to basically talk about how he wanted to take the that sort of like starship, that sort of bolted and rusty sort of starship feel
Yeah.
that kind of exists in the first edition and a lot of things, and sort of uh, soften it a little bit, give it a little more put a little more fantasy back in the science fantasy.
Oh, that reminds me. Well, they also talked about Starship Combat. A question came up,
Mm.
and it sounds like they're going to allow both narrative and more number crunchy upgrading and doing kind of thing. They're kind of like they haven't. They said they haven't ironed it out, but they're kind of looking at both directions. So allow kind of both of those ways of
Yeah,
playing. So
yeah. We'll have to see what the number crunching part of Starship Combat kind of looks like. If it's going to be similar to what exists already, or more more, I don't know, more like second edition Pathfinder stuff that like chases and research and infiltration and stuff like
It
that.
could be more if it's more thorough like that. It becomes less optional because right now you could run stuff,
mhm.
and if you don't do a starship combat, then at most you've sort of lost your players 1 encounter's worth of XP, maybe 2 encounters worth if it were like a particularly robust starship combat. But if your group kind of didn't gel with starship combat, then it felt in first edition it felt kind of you could slot in the narrative rules and be just fine, right? But if it
Yeah.
does something like a
Well, then you just
robust, like the intrigue subsystem or something like that, or the influence subsystem,
yeah
that's a really not just a robust sort of point gathering system, but has several markers and issues at which you gain XP. I could see a structure in which half the XP you get from a level is a particularly robust starship sort of combat slash mission slash chase, whatever.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you do end up doing narrative stuff for that, you can always just also just give out the same amount of XP as if it were a regular fight. I mean, that's the sort of thing you can always kind of skip any encounter and just give the XP for it
Oh,
if you really
that's
want to.
true, and that's if you're the old XP using, traditionalists rather than one of those newfangled milestone leveling sorts.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like the milestone. Um,
Oh yeah.
something. This is Starfinder First Edition, but I thought was interesting, and Jenny talked about it a little bit earlier. In Mechageddon, apparently the mechs can transform, and one of them can transform into a starship.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is something that I heard too. That there's definitely at least one or two
Yeah,
chassis that do a trans.
I
That's
thought that was
awesome.
really cool. Yeah, yeah.
As a just a complete sidebar here real quick. Speaking of transformations, I actually got in the mail yesterday the last book that I worked on for Renegade Transformers, this book called The Enigma of Combination, which is about playing the big combiner teams.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of fun. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to actually get a hardcover copy of it, but I've got it. And
Nice.
See,
there's all the art and stuff that I ordered and stuff. It's fun. So it's cool to look through that and remember. I don't remember much about Transformers. I've pushed it all out of my head.
Yes, gotta flush that when the new stuff comes in.
Yeah.
They talked quite a bit about the classes, the Solarian. One things that in the playtest I noticed, and they talked about this a little bit more, where you don't have to focus just on armor, shield, or weapon. The Solarian can get all of those in one Solarian. So that was
Hmm.
kind of, I think, kind of neat.
and
Talked about how the
you can accelerate your mode, right? You don't have to be
yeah,
sort of waiting until
mhm,
the third round before you can do kind of cool things.
Oh
yeah, other things early on. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
talked about how the operative was more focused on kind of gunplay. So something with that. So
Yeah, I want to say that was one of the I saw some of the screenshots they made, and the operative was one of the screenshots that I didn't see it at a resolution level to go in and okay, what's this, what's that, but I tried right with the resolution that I had, so that's I think a good sign that it's going to be of particular interest, when I see that. Oh,
Hmm. Yeah, I think Thirsty mentioned that on that page was like it just says one of the things says trained proficiency in guns.
right, and then it has to
I thought,
define
yeah,
later what
you
guns
gotta have
are.
guns. What is guns?
what B gun?
Hmm.
Oh, anyway, so it looks like from the sound of it, they're going to have quite a few playtest things come out throughout the year. So it
Yeah.
uh, won't be this dearth of things to do, and they're going to keep bringing out. It sounds like a really nice launch for second edition, frankly.
Yeah,
Well, and
and
that's
then
also
they'll
going to
just kind
make
of
it
ramp up.
so they can actually digest playtest feedback a lot easier.
Hmm, hmm.
I can tell you from my time at the doing all the Unearthed Arcanas recently for Wizards of the Coast, having time to digest feedback before you're looking at the next piece of feedback is important for sort of employee peace of mind. Um, so let's also, make sure
Yeah.
you can get through, the numerous people. It's exciting to be in a hobby where you have so many people who are willing to test stuff for you and then tell you about what
Yeah,
they did.
yeah.
And being able to
Hmm.
go through, I
Hmm.
mean, that makes it worth, yeah, I mean, it makes it all worth looking at and be having the time to do that, think about it, iterate on it is a really important part of the process. So I'm actually really, I'm really pleased to hear that they're kind of taking their time to put it as much as I might want to jump from one thing to another as a player, right? Knowing that they're taking their time feels to me like they're doing it right. So,
God, related, I am terrified to start looking at the Battlecry playtest feedback, which
mhm.
we'll be having to do within the next, after the next month. That's all going to be when that's complete. I'm going to have to sort through that and
Yeah, they said there were
look through
thousands
those
of
two
people,
classes.
thousands of downloads. So
So many.
that's good.
It's and there's yeah, it's great. It's great. I love that we're getting a lot of feedback. I've never had to like kind of like absorb feedback on this scale before, so I'm just terrified to do it.
Well, and there's a lot of, I mean, gosh, being able to play with a lot of data is fun, and the more of it you have,
Yeah.
the more you can do with the responses and see how they slice in different ways. So uh, I've enjoyed that quite a bit. So that's been good. Having a lot of data is intimidating, but it is so worth it because you get to play with
Yeah.
sort of a lot of different things. Um, but I'll say the less of the written feedback that you take personally, all the better. So
Of course. Yes. I don't plan on taking any of it actually personally. I just,
it's also one of the
yeah.
things that's really interesting is people will give you really good feedback, very clever feedback about rules that don't actually exist, but which they think exist. And so sometimes
Hmm.
you have to be careful to take what people are saying. Did it actually say that? And I'll go look quick. It never actually that isn't in fact the rule. They're saying very clever things about something that isn't actually the rule. Um, so it can sometimes anyway. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy even if there's a ton of it. I've only so far just skimmed the commander and the guardian in that Battlecry playtest, but I'm excited for it.
How did
I'm excited to get it.
your playtest go, Jason?
Oh yeah, I did a playtest yesterday, and it went well. I got some good information. I did also learned a little bit better on how to playtest in some fashion because I presented a moderate and a severe encounter for their level, and they stomped on it, both of them, pretty handily.
Oh,
All the classes were doing what they were supposed to do, and I was rolling terribly. So there's anecdotally a bit of a fluke,
Mhm.
but there, also like the fighter rolled two criticals in the first round on reactions,
oh,
basically,
Wow.
because it was like the fighter, and it's nothing to do with the fighter was there, prepped a strike to come for when something got close, got a critical, and then before the fighter's turn came up again, the commander was like, "Hit him again. Here's a free reaction," and bam, another critical. I was just like,
That's
"Oh
but
boy."
on one hand,
Good
that's what
stuff.
fighters are supposed to do, right? They've got the accuracy in
It's
the
true.
system where I mean, you kinda
Yeah,
have to count on the fighter doing at least, some critting, if not that much critting, just because that's kind of the way
yeah,
they're built, is to have the higher attack modifier.
indeed, indeed. And then I had the guardian, you know, uh, jumped in the way of one range attack, completely negated it because it didn't do a lot of damage. And then there's a level 4 feat that says if you're in an area effect, you can lower your reflex save to up someone else's reflex save. Gave the fighter a +2 to their reflex save, which made it into a critical, which means the fighter took no damage from that area
Wow.
effect, and but the guardian did. And that was like the only damage I did in that one fight was just a little bit
oh,
a little bit of area effect. It was good. So it's working good. I'm already aware of a lot of things that this is getting a little off track, of course, but I'm aware of some things that I definitely want to change. But um, I'm also thinking about that a
yeah,
little bit. After seeing, and I've got another one planned, and I might do a third one before the end of June if I can swing it.
for sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you get a lot of personal feedback from them about, "I thought this played just like it was supposed to," or, "This felt good," or, "I felt like this should do more." I mean, it was
Yeah. I'll um why not? My playtesters included Mark Seifter and Linda Zayas Palmer,
oh boy, so you
and
had some very,
and
very informed
I had some
people.
very good, very informed, very good at making characters. I'll tell you that too, right? Mark made a commander whose actual speed was 5 feet, but then had a mount, so could actually get around the battlefield, but because of the commander not being didn't build him as a strength build, and then just took a bunch of heavy armor and just sort of tanked his actual speed, and had like one of the bigger shields that
yeah,
tanks your speed too. Um, it was wild. And then Linda made a Leshy fighter, of
yeah,
course. But
You'd expect it.
of course. And our my current coworker Andrew White
Oh,
also sort of sat in and did the Guardian, and he made a big awakened animal pig, basically a boar. Who was like, I want to see how large I can be. And he took the feat that makes you even larger when you're in heavy armor. So it was like, yeah, okay, it was good. It was some good stress testing, and everyone felt like they, the people who were running the support classes felt like they were supporting, and the people who were being supported by the support classes felt like the support classes were supporting them. So, um, it's kind of working as planned for now. It just needs lots of sanding all the rough
yeah.
edges down as usual.
Do you feel like sort of where they're at now, if somebody in, yeah, let's say in Starfinder Second Edition, right? The fact that you can kind of blend characters to and from Commander and Guardian seem to me like classes that kind of step right off the page into Starfinder, no problem, right? Having sort of a
I think they,
military leaders is or
yeah.
the tough vanguardish sort of characters feel like they could be just right at home in Starfinder Second Edition.
Yeah, I definitely think the Guardian could, because there's sort of that, it doesn't rely on, it's not a like a champion's magic, ours and stuff like that. But I wonder how they, if you want to do an envoy and a commander in the same party, they kind of sort of fill similar roles, but not similar mechanics, so they might blend nicely together. I don't know yet, but yeah,
One a
can
Vanguard
definitely
in
see.
the Guardian too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, if they have a Vanguard in second edition, when if that
Oh,
happens,
that's true.
um,
Yeah, they might not. There, I mean, there were
we don't
entire
know yet.
Pathfinder First Edition classes that never made it into Pathfinder Second Edition. Haven't yet, I guess I should say. But
Well, they did talk about Pathfinder, the Player 2 core, that listed another, like, I
Mhm.
think 9 classes that came in. Or
7 and it's like 7 and 7. They're evenly
oh, is it
split
7 and
between Player
7?
Core 1 and Player Core 2. It's something like that. It's or 6 and 6 or something.
Well, it was more
It might
than
be 7 and
6.
7.
It seemed like a lot. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely was a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all good. Although and kind of like going back to like what's going to come forward from Starfinder first edition to Starfinder second edition. What they did talk a little bit about the Witch Warper, and some of the language in which they were talking about the Witch Warper was precog language.
Yes.
Paradoxes
oh,
and
oh,
anchors. That's all from the precog class. So I think the precog is getting a little folded into the Witch Warper. So we probably won't see a fully updated precog to second edition.
I'd be excited to see
And
that.
who
I
knows if
love the precog. I thought that the sort of the mechanics really supported the theme of the
mm,
class in a way that was just a ton of fun.
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. Oh yeah, because you were playing
Well,
one.
all the way through
Yeah,
Horizons of
yeah.
the Vast. So
Yeah.
first through 13th,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, no, but I meant also the you, brought it to the end of, uh, the other one, the dragon one, To Defy the Dragon.
Yep.
I saw it
That
in
was the
play for the
same
first
It
time,
was
but
precog.
you
it
were
was the
playing
same character.
the same
It
precog.
was the same
Yeah, yeah.
precog, just
Yeah.
at the levels we were playing in Horizons of the Vast. So
Yeah.
okay, maybe I haven't really
Cool.
spread my precog wings very wide, but yes.
Yeah. Uh,
But Janelle has
that
seen it
was
all.
neat.
Yeah, yep. The and that's kind of neat because there's a lot of mechanics I think that really that Pathfinder Second Edition has as far as fortune and misfortune effects. That really somebody that leans into those, whether precog or witch warper or whoever way they want to do. I feel like there's a lot of kind of interesting design space they could go around the theme of sort of bending reality to either know what's going to happen or make some bad luck happen.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that'll be kind of neat to see. It's interesting to
Yeah.
think that there's no real need for the kind of when they call it an original Starfinder, they called it the thing called the legacy races, right? Or they called it something
Right.
where it was like you could play a gnome or a halfling or a half orc or whatever in Starfinder, kind of tucked in the back of the book. Like we haven't forgotten about you. If you want to do this, you still can.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat that instead of pointing at some specific races like they did in Starfinder First Edition, they kind of wave their hand to the whole game, right? Pathfinder Second Edition, say
Yeah.
any of that,
Yeah.
be it something that's
You can do it.
been in from the beginning like a halfling, or be something that's kind of coming new like the
Puppet.
commander of the Guardian. Yeah.
Puppet. they're gonna have some puppets doing some puppet NPCs at the very least in Starfinder. I mean it, or some sort of like, because I'm not gonna be able to pronounce the word, but there's a puppet heritage in the Tian Shaw character guide. That's basically when you want to play essentially like a yokai kind of character, a
Well, that would be
living
awesome.
umbrella, for instance, or a puppet. And so maybe just a specific puppet heritage in Starfinder Second Edition that's like, I'm an animatronic that's come to life, right, from a theme park
So,
ride.
not to ruin anything, Jason, you know that book hasn't been released, right?
What, the Tian Shaw character? I know, but
They've
they've talked
Okay, I
about
just
it.
want to
they've
make
talked
sure.
about the puppet character,
Okay,
the
I
Yeah,
puppet
didn't know.
expansion in there.
I think
yeah,
you're
they talked
right.
about the
I've seen
puppet
the art
character.
for it. Okay.
There's a
I
at the very least, I know there was a stream
okay.
that aired yesterday
Okay.
that
I
showcased some
didn't
of these
see it.
character
Okay,
options.
good,
They
good,
got it
good.
earlier.
Because
Yeah,
it's like,
and someone was playing
yeah.
I can't pronounce it.
Okay. Got it. Got it. I just want to know if I had to go back and edit. That's all.
Right, we want to stay
No,
in
no, it's all
We're
Paizo's
good.
good
good.
It's all good.
We're
It's
graces,
good
to
good.
be
talking
Yeah,
about it.
fair.
yeah, we're good. Okay.
It's fine. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Now you've got me worried a little bit, but don't take it out.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's fine.
I
think they
I didn't
talked about
watch
it.
all
I'm
the
pretty sure they
streams.
talked about it.
I didn't know. And
Yeah.
but I know some stuff about Tianche, and I don't know what's
Oh, did you?
available to
That's right. You
talk
did
about.
writing. Did you write for the World Guide and the Character Guide?
I can't
You
say.
can't say because you never know. I gotta say,
Mm,
I remember as a
I'm
developer,
not allowed to
maybe.
say
You know,
things. I just can't say.
yeah.
No, just one of those things. All right. Well, this has been an interesting discussion here of both Pathfinder and Starfinder Second Edition, or Pathfinder Remastered, Starfinder Second Edition.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to see both of those things actually kind of coming out together almost.
Mhm.
And the nice thing about it is with Pathfinder Remastered coming out first, we're going to see those things kind of folded in directly into Starfinder Second Edition, rather than if we had Pathfinder Second Edition, then remastered, then and then had to have Starfinder Second Edition remastered.
Right. Get
Yeah,
remastered.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a lot smoother this way. So
right, right.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, it all. And it's all from the same
right.
impetus,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It all was from the same thing.
for sure.
We gotta divest everything. Let's start moving on Second Edition. And in the meantime, let's do the remaster, which is already, like all that rules stuff was there. It was just needed like
Right.
some trimming and polishing.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's an exciting weekend.
Yeah.
I'm John.
And I'm Ron.
And I'm Jason, and this has been Digital Divination.